Hey, wonderful and beautiful fragrance lovers. Welcome back. It's Benjamin here at the Centaur Fragrance Show, showcasing another beautiful fragrance for you guys. I hope that you're doing absolutely fantastic out there. In the comment section, please get involved and share your scent of the day, how you've been doing, any new beautiful fragrance that you found that's been on your radar. And let's jump into this one today. This is Dzhari. Not exactly sure how you're supposed to say it. I do my best around here. And this is from Phaedon or Phaedon. And it's a beautiful fragrance, guys. Let's jump into the notes. Let's jump all about it. I do have some sad news to share at the end of the video, but it's a remarkable fragrance and it's absolutely a stunner. So first off, this is a wine fragrance, but it's a very unique wine fragrance. There aren't a lot of wine fragrances out there. There's wine and chocolate from the really nice niche house coming out, from Mr. Niche Guy called Svaga. Or Sviga, I never know how to say it right. And there's of course Cherokee by Serge Luton, but this one here is completely different. It's balsamic. It's a little bit of a deeper, more complex, almost an earthy wine in its own right. It has a little bit of sparkle, but it's a little bit heavier of a wine. It's a little, I guess you consider it a balsamic or a rustic wine type of smell. It's really nice. It's not just a sweet wine. It's not just a dense grape kind of smell. There's a lot more complexity to it. And then the other big component to this fragrance, and the really interesting other aspect to this fragrance, is a terracotta cord. And if you have no idea what that is, Google it. It's a certain type of clay. It's a certain type of earth or soil, and they make it into pottery. It has a unique, fresh, earthy smell to it. It's distinct. It smells like nothing else. The closest you might have smelled is maybe if you smelled those like clay pots at Lowe's or Home Depot. And if you've ever been around those, there's a unique fresh clay smell, but terracotta has a unique smell of its own. It's almost fresh and spicy, almost like ginger in a way. I guess earth trying to smell like ginger. Anyways, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's really beautiful. In the background of the fragrance, in the deep, at one point I almost smell a little bit of a chocolate liqueur, like a chocolate alcohol, and there is tonka bean. So there's not really much other complexity going on in this fragrance, but it's really beautiful. It's not really listed as a note, but also I do get more of a green rose, like a rose bud. Not really the flower so much, but like the rose bud. So I get that a little bit of aspect in the background of the fragrance, adding a really nice balance between these sweet notes, some sweet complexity, and a lot of almost like hidden, like old spices inside the wine, almost leaning, it's still a wine, but it almost is acting like a rum with how complex it is. And then you get that fresh terracotta cord. Then I get a little bit of like a green, almost like a woody floral aspect to me that reminds me of a green rose. And then you're getting a little bit of additional sweetness. So this one could be considered or categorized as a sweet fragrance. That's for sure. For some people, this might even be too sweet, and but it's a beautiful fragrance. It's quite remarkable. It's quite likable. A lot of again, this is a niche fragrance, but a lot of niche fragrances tend to go EDP, extrait, or even stronger. They go as strong as they can, and this is one from this collection that's an EDT concentration. So we'll talk about the performance here in a second, but it's a little bit lighter, even though there are dense and kind of complex notes here. It's a little bit fresher and wearable. I would feel comfortable wearing this 24/7 all year round. Going outdoors in the high heat, I might want to go really light, but indoors, even in the summer, I think this is a manageable fragrance if you control your sprays. So to me, it's actually quite versatile, and I love this juice. I'm so happy that I got it, and I waited for an amazing deal. Y'all know that I can be a cheapskate, or I can just wait for the right deal. I don't like to pay retail if I don't have to, and this fragrance is absolutely worth the money. But again, we'll talk about something sad here at the end of the video. You might be expecting it, but you might already know what it is if you're really involved in the fragrance community. So anyways, performance wise, I get 6 to 7 hours. Again, for a niche fragrance, some people might say that's a deal breaker, but I like that this fragrance is versatile enough and that I can wear it in so many more situations than some of my other niche fragrances that I absolutely love, but they're really rich in like coffees, tobaccos, and ouds, and really rich in sweet notes and gourmands and those kinds of things. Those don't tend to make themselves as versatile as something that's lighter. This fragrance still has a little bit of depth, some people might say it's a little bit on the dark side, but again, it has its own unique wearability, at least to my nose, and I feel comfortable with wearing this anytime. But it's a terribly seductive fragrance. We're going to jump into that here in a second. So I get about average projection. Sillage is quite nice, but it's not as strong as I'd want it to be with Sillage. I actually would like a little bit stronger Sillage, but it's not a bad performer. 6 to 7 hours. Some people might get even more, but on my skin, that's what I'm getting. Sprayed on clothes, and you'll definitely be able to pull through a day or get yourself through a really long night. Anyways, talking about night activity, let's get into that compliment factor. This is a seductive fragrance through and through. Actually, I was turned on to this fragrance even more by Huele Mucho. I don't know about if y'all know about him. He's a fantastic fragrance reviewer. I'm not exactly sure where he's from. He seems Spanish, but he's awesome. I love the way he speaks. And he really talked about this as a tantalizing date night fragrance for you guys. Absolutely, he's right. And this is a stunner of a fragrance, guys. If you want a date night fragrance, it's light enough and has its own unique freshness where has enough intrigue, or it's approachable enough in that way, but it's so seductive and sweet and has its own unique character and complexity. Guys, this is definitely a date night fragrance, and it'll work you wonders if you're willing to go out there and search for this one, or if it's something that sounds interesting to you. A unique, fresh earthiness and a beautiful, complex wine note with some additional sweetness. And again, I feel like there's some hidden notes up in here. They give you very few accords, and I think that there's some, more of a green rose going on here. So anyways, beautiful fragrance, remarkable, and it really does get positive attention. It turns heads, and he said it was a player fragrance that can, make a memory. And this is definitely a fragrance that, somebody might just remember you on the sheets, if you know what I mean. So this fragrance absolutely works as a date fragrance. It's tantalizing, it's intriguing, but it's sweet enough, and it's not a linear fragrance, but it has some complexity, but it's not overtly complex. I think it has the right amount of complexity, and I really like that about this fragrance. And it does wonders in my world, absolutely. So getting into my final thoughts with this fragrance, this is not a cheap fragrance, but it's not terribly expensive as far as niche goes. You could get 100 mils for about $200 or so. That's up there, I think, about normal niche pricing, 200 to 300 for your really good. Getting into the higher end side of niche, I think for what you're getting here, it's an EDT. A 200 is a little bit spendy. I got an amazing deal on it. I waited and I got it for much less. I think that this fragrance absolutely is perfection. I don't think Phaedon's willing to lower their prices, but to me, this kind of EDT concentration with this kind of smell and this quality for around the $150 range, I think is exactly what people are looking for, and I think would be absolute magic. It's still a great deal. It's still worth the money. I think it's still worth checking out. But, for some people, for $200, it might not have as much longevity, and they might be expecting something highly artistic or highly unusual. Is there something of intrigue? Yes. Is there complexity here? Yes. But for the super, artistic people, might not do it. And for the people who like Byredos and Gallivants and things that are really light and really wearable, this also might be a little bit too complex and maybe a little bit too unusual. So it's kind of in this weird spot, but to me, it's right in the sweet spot where it's wearable, but yet has a lot of intrigue and a lot of, uniqueness and complexity. It's exactly where I love fragrances to be. So getting into the bad thing I was telling y'all about, it's Discontinued. You probably already know what it was. Actually, I'd been searching for this one for a really long time. When I got it, I finally got it. I just spoke about a week ago on Instagram. I was talking so highly about it. And then I guess I didn't keep up with on the internet, and I was looking for places I could recommend the fragrance to people, and it was actually discontinued, and it's kind of hard to find. So this one's not extinct, but it has been recently discontinued. It's kind of hard to find this one, but if you know somebody who works with the boutique, somebody who is involved, you might be able to call them up, give them a ring, and you might be able to get some of the last bottles of this one out there. I think it's worth checking out. It's a beautiful fragrance. There's not a lot of wine fragrances on the market, and this one has it does something for me. This is a special fragrance. I'm not selling this one. It's sticking around. And anyways, guys, I hope that you liked the review. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank y'all for watching. Let me know in the comment section below. Have you ever tried a wine fragrance? Is that something that sounds good to you? Have you tried Cherokee by Serge Lutens, which is much more well known than this one? Have you given wine a chance? Anyways, guys, I'll see you next time. Wear what you love, rock what you got. Have a beautiful day. Peace out, and bye.